The chandeliers inside the plaza glittered like frozen stars, but nothing shone brighter than the humiliation burning across Claire Whitford's cheeks. She had spent the entire day styling outfits for the charity gala, reminding herself that even at 6 months pregnant, she could still look polished, composed, unbreakable. But all of that collapsed the moment her husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, made his entrance. Logan Pierce walked into the ballroom like a man stepping onto a private runway, his tux pressed, his smile rehearsed, his ego inflated enough to fill the ceiling. But it wasn't Logan that stole the room's breath. It was the man beside him, Mason Clark, Claire's best friend. Her closest confidant for 10 years. The person she trusted more than anyone, except the man now standing proudly at Mason's side. Whispers rippled like wind through silk gowns. Isn't that her friend? Wasn't he in their wedding party? No, they wouldn't. Oh, but they would. Logan wrapped an arm around Mason's waist, public, bold, triumphant. And Mason didn't flinch. He smiled back, soft and smug, as though he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. Claire's lungs stopped working. The glass in her hand slipped, crashing to the marble floor. Heads turned. A photographer snapped a picture just as Claire staggered backward, one hand clutching her belly. Guests stared. First in pity, then in morbid curiosity, as if she were tonight's tragic entertainment. "Claire," Logan said, voice sharp with annoyance rather than concern. "Don't make a scene. Everyone knows we've moved on." "We? Moved on?" She hadn't even known she'd been left behind. The room tilted. Lights blurred. A cold wave washed through her body, fear, shock, betrayal, sharpening like ice. Claire grabbed the nearest table to steady herself, but her knees buckled. And as the ballroom gasped in unison, Claire collapsed to the floor, just as a familiar, steady pair of shoes stepped into view. Someone was watching her fall, and he was about to change everything. The sound of her collapse echoed through the plaza's ballroom, too loud, too raw, too human for a room built on polished lies. Claire tried to rise, but her body trembled under the pressure of shock and the sharp pull in her abdomen. Guests hovered, whispering as though she were a headline unfolding right in front of them. A security guard approached, but Logan lifted a hand with practiced arrogance. "She's fine," he said, as if dismissing a spilled drink. Claire tends to overreact when she wants attention. That sentence cut deeper than any betrayal. Attention? She was barely able to breathe. Her child was barely able to breathe. Mason stood slightly behind Logan, his expression a strange blend of guilt and triumph, as if he wanted to apologize and celebrate at the same time. He knelt toward Claire, whispering, "You knew this was coming eventually." She stared at him, stunned. Her best friend, the man she cried to, trusted, confided in. "You did this," Claire choked out. "You both did this." Logan exhaled impatiently. "Can someone call the valet? I don't want her fainting on the steps too." Then, louder, for the crowd, he added, "Claire and I have been separated for months. She's struggling. Please give her space." Separated? Struggling? None of that was true. The lie settled over her like a net, trapping her. Mason nodded sympathetically at strangers, pretending to comfort her while subtly shaping the narrative. And the crowd believed him. Wealth always carried credibility. A staff member touched Claire's shoulder gently. "Ma'am, should we get an ambulance?" Before she could answer, a calm, steady voice cut through the tension. "I'll take her." The room fell silent, not out of concern, but curiosity. The man stepping forward was impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, dark hair swept back, posture relaxed yet commanding. Claire blinked through tears, recognizing him faintly from earlier in the week outside the clinic, offering help she refused. Dr. Everett Langston, billionaire. Innovator, a name whispered with awe in Manhattan boardrooms. Logan stiffened. "This is a private matter. Stay out of it." Everett ignored him completely, crouching beside Claire. "You're in pain," he observed, voice low, "and you don't have to stay here another second." Her breath shuddered. I can't walk." "I've got you," he said simply. And then, effortless, controlled, he lifted her into his arms. Gasps erupted around the ballroom. Phones rose. Cameras flashed. Logan's jaw locked. Mason's smile faltered. Everett glanced at them both with cool indifference. "Gentlemen," he said, "this is where your version of the story ends." He carried Claire toward the exit. And that was the moment Logan realized he had just lost something far bigger than his pride. The crisp night air outside the plaza hit Claire's skin like a shock. Everett didn't slow his pace as he carried her past the doormen, who scrambled to open the glass doors without daring to question him. His stride was calm, deliberate, so unlike the chaos unraveling inside her chest. "Put me down," Claire whispered, embarrassed by the stares. "I will," Everett replied softly, "once you're somewhere safe." A black SUV glided to the curb, sleek and unfamiliar. The driver stepped out instantly. "Mr. Langston, sir." Claire's eyes widened. She'd suspected Everett was wealthy, his presence alone suggested it, but she hadn't realized this level of influence. Everett helped her into the back seat, adjusting her seatbelt with careful precision, as though she might break. No one had touched her with this kind of gentleness in months. He climbed in beside her, closing the door as the SUV pulled away from the curb. For a moment, silence settled. Claire stared out the window, the lights of Fifth Avenue blurring like streaks of gold as the car accelerated. Her chest tightened, not from pain, but humiliation. "I'm sorry," she said abruptly. "You shouldn't have gotten involved. People will make assumptions." Everett's expression didn't change. "People make assumptions because they're bored. I'm not concerned with their entertainment." She blinked. No one had ever dismissed gossip so effortlessly. "You don't know me," she murmured. "I know you're in distress. And I know that man back there treated you like an inconvenience." Her throat tightened at the memory of Logan's cold stare. The humiliation, the betrayal, the whispers, every fragment of it clung to her like static. "He wasn't always like that," she whispered. Everett gave a quiet, thoughtful hum. "Monsters rarely start as monsters." His words hit deeper than she expected. Claire's hand drifted to her belly. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Not just for me, for my baby. I can barely stand on my own 2 feet. Everything is falling apart." Everett leaned back slightly, studying her with unnerving calm. "Then let something hold you up until you can." She frowned. "Something? Or someone?" "Both," he said. The SUV slowed as it approached Mount Sinai Hospital. Claire expected him to tell the driver to stop, but the vehicle continued rolling forward. Confused, she looked at Everett. "We're passing the hospital." "That's correct." "I'm starting." "Why?" He held her gaze steady, unwavering, unreadable. "Because you need more than medical attention tonight, Claire." Her pulse quickened. "What does that mean?" Everett turned his eyes back to the road. "It means I'm taking you somewhere. Logan Pierce will never think to look." The city lights flared against his profile, sharp, powerful, unknowable. And Claire felt her breath catch as a new kind of fear mingled with hope. Because wherever he was taking her, nothing in her life would ever be the same again. Claire stared at the glowing dashboard as the SUV drifted deeper into the Upper East Side. The streets grew quieter, the buildings taller, the air somehow heavier with wealth. She wiped her eyes, but the tears kept forming. Shame, fear, exhaustion. They all pulsed together like a bruise that wouldn't stop throbbing. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "To a place where no one will bother you," Everett answered. "Especially not Logan." Claire shook her head weakly. "He won't come after me." Everett looked at her as though she had told a joke. Men like him only walk away when they think you have nothing left to lose, when they believe you're broken beyond repair. She stiffened. The truth stung because it was real. The SUV stopped in front of a sleek, glass high-rise overlooking Central Park. The kind of building Claire had only ever seen on magazine covers. A doorman rushed forward, greeting Everett as if he were royalty. "Mr. Langston, penthouse is ready." Penthouse. Claire's stomach tightened. "I can't stay here. This is too much. I'm just someone who needs rest," Everett finished gently. "Nothing more, nothing less." He escorted her through the marble lobby into a private elevator that hummed softly as it ascended dozens of floors without stopping. Claire clutched the rail. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." "I know enough." His tone remained even. "And I know what it means to owe someone a debt." She frowned. "A debt?" Everett's eyes flickered only for a second. "We'll talk when you're stronger." When the elevator opened, Claire froze. The penthouse was breathtaking, floor-to-ceiling windows revealing the Manhattan skyline like a living painting. Everything gleamed, polished stone, soft lighting, quiet luxury. A far cry from the cramped apartment she'd shared with Logan, where she tiptoed around his tempers and his fragile ego. "I don't belong here," she whispered. "Tonight," Everett said, guiding her inside, "you belong somewhere safe." Her body finally gave in. She sank onto the couch, one hand on her stomach. Everett knelt in front of her. "Your baby needs you calm. We'll get a doctor here, someone discreet." She stared at him, confused. "Why do you care so much?" "How could I not?" he said quietly. A knock interrupted the moment. A soft, urgent tap. Everett stood, suddenly alert. "That's impossible. No one should know we're here." Claire's pulse spiked. "Who is it?" Everett's jaw tightened as he approached the door. He opened it, and froze. Standing in the hallway was someone Claire never expected to see again. Someone who knew the one secret that could destroy everything. Claire's breath snagged in her throat as Everett opened the penthouse door. Standing in the hallway, dressed in a plain gray coat and clutching a worn leather folder, was a woman Claire hadn't seen in 8 years. Dr. Elise Warren, her former therapist, the last person who knew the darkest chapter of Claire Whitford's life. Elise stepped inside slowly, offering Everett a grateful nod before turning her full attention to Claire. "You look pale," she said softly, "and exhausted. May I sit?" Claire's voice trembled. What are you doing here?" Everett closed the door quietly behind them. "She's here because I asked her to come." Claire's head whipped toward him. "You what?" Elise held up a gentle hand. "Claire, you're in crisis. Everett called me after recognizing your name earlier this week. He wanted someone who already understood your history." Heat rushed to Claire's face, anger, fear, embarrassment, blending into something painful. "My history is private. He had no right—" "Claire," Elise interrupted, her tone calm but firm. "You're under extreme emotional stress. You fainted. Your pregnancy is fragile. And what happened tonight?" She exhaled softly. "No one should face that alone." Claire shook her head, tears threatening again. "I don't want him knowing everything about me." "You're assuming I don't already know," Everett said quietly. Claire froze. Everett took 2 careful steps toward her. 8 years ago, you filed a sealed report. You helped stop a trafficking ring in Boston. You protected a young girl who escaped." Claire's stomach dropped. Her pulse roared in her ears. Elise nodded gently. "That girl was Everett's sister." The room fell away. Everett continued, voice steady but heavy with something almost reverent. "My family never forgot what you did. We searched for you for years, but the court sealed your name to protect your safety. When I saw you outside the clinic last week, I recognized the handwriting on your intake form. You sign your name the same way you did on the statement." Claire covered her mouth, overwhelmed. She had buried that part of her life so deeply she prayed it would never resurface, not after the threats, the fear, the trial. "You saved her," Everett said softly. "You saved us. I owe you more than you can imagine." Claire's knees weakened, and she sank onto the couch. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because you were already drowning," Everett replied. "I didn't want this to be another weight on your shoulders." Elise placed the leather folder on the table. "But the past isn't done with you, Claire, and after what Logan and Mason did tonight, it's coming back." Claire's hands shook. "Coming back how?" Elise exchanged a grave glance with Everett. Then she spoke the words that made Claire's blood run cold. "Someone from that old case has resurfaced, and they're looking for you." Claire felt the room tilt, though she was no longer standing. A sour wave of nausea crawled up her throat, not from the pregnancy this time, but from a fear she thought she'd buried years ago. Elise slid the leather folder closer, its edges worn, its presence heavier than steel. "Someone from the case? Who?" Claire whispered, her voice brittle. Elise exchanged a quiet, steady look with Everett. "Daniel Voss." Claire flinched as if slapped. Daniel Voss, the man who ran the safe house that was anything but safe. The man who profited from terrified girls who never saw daylight again. The man who swore he'd remember the face of the girl who ruined everything as he was dragged away in cuffs. "He was supposed to be in prison until 2032, Claire whispered. "How? Good behavior release," Everett said grimly. "Corruption, more likely." "Thanks for watching." Claire's pulse hammered. "He can't know I'm here. He can't know who I am now." Elise shook her head. "He doesn't, but he knows you're alive. And he's asking questions." The room grew colder, the skyline outside no longer glittering but threatening. "My sister is safe," Everett added quietly. "But that doesn't mean you are." His voice softened, but beneath the calm, she sensed steel coiled, ready, dangerous. "I won't let him touch you. Not again," he said. Claire swallowed hard. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? About your sister? About all this?" "Because you were walking on broken glass already," Everett replied. "Tonight showed me you're running out of ground." Emotion cracked inside her: fear, shame, exhaustion, gratitude tangled into something she couldn't name. "What if Logan finds out?" Claire asked weakly. "He'll use this. He'll twist it. Mason too." "He won't," Everett said. "Not if I move first." Claire stiffened. "Move how?" Before he could answer, the elevator chimed. Everett's head snapped toward the sound, every muscle taut. The doorman shouldn't have let anyone up. The penthouse floor required clearance. No one should be visiting tonight. No friends, no family, no threats. A shadow moved under the crack of the elevator doors. And then, a voice Claire never wanted to hear again echoed down the hall. "Claire? Claire Whitford?" Logan's voice. Panicked. Angry. Much too close. Everett stepped forward instantly, shielding her with his body. "Stay behind me." Claire's heartbeat slammed against her ribs. How did Logan find this place? How did he reach the top floor? Why was he calling her name like a man desperate? The elevator doors slid fully open, and Logan stumbled out, holding something in his hand that made Everett's expression turn to stone. Logan staggered out of the elevator like a man freshly punched by reality. His tux jacket hung open, his hair disheveled, eyes glassy with panic, and in his shaking hand was a thick envelope. The sight of him standing in Everett Langston's penthouse corridor made Claire's stomach twist. He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't know about here. Everett took one step forward, voice sharp. "You weren't invited. You weren't cleared. Explain how you got past security before I make a call you'll regret." Logan swallowed hard, glancing nervously between them. I had to talk to her. I had to see Claire." He lifted the envelope. "Because this showed up at my apartment an hour ago." Claire's breath stilled. "What is it?" Logan laughed, a hollow, frightened sound. "A warning. Or blackmail. I don't know." He shoved the envelope toward Everett, almost dropping it. "But someone out there knows things about you, Claire. Things I never knew." Everett's expression didn't change, but the air around him sharpened. Logan kept talking, words tumbling out in frantic bursts. "They sent photos from years ago Boston, the police station files I've never seen. They said if I don't deliver you to a location tomorrow night, they'll leak everything. Your name, your involvement, the trial. All of it." Claire's heart plummeted. Daniel Voss. It had to be. Elise stepped forward quickly. "Logan, give me the envelope." But Logan jerked it away, voice cracking. "No. You all need to understand something. I'm in danger too. Whoever sent this knows where I live. They know my schedule. They know Mason's schedule. They said they'll come after me if I don't cooperate." Everett's voice dropped to a cold, surgical calm. "You expect sympathy after what you did tonight?" Logan winced. "I didn't know this would happen. I swear. I know I messed up, okay? Claire, please just talk to them. Tell them you won't go after them. They think you're planning something." In 27, I day have to Sarah and day have them. Claire stared at him, stunned. "Logan, you think I want revenge?" "I just want peace." He shook his head violently. "They don't care. They want you silent, one way or another." Everett stepped closer, eyes blazing with protective fury. "You will not deliver Claire anywhere. Not tomorrow. Not ever." Logan opened his mouth, but Everett cut him off. "Tell us the location." Logan hesitated, terror flickering in his gaze. I can't. They'll kill me if I talk. If you bought a savant." Everett leaned in, voice low and lethal. "You'll tell us, because the alternative is far worse." Logan trembled, finally reaching into the envelope, and pulled out a single photograph that made Claire scream. Claire's scream tore through the penthouse, sharp and instinctive. Everett snatched the photograph from Logan's trembling hand before it hit the floor, but not fast enough to spare Claire the image burned into her memory. It was a picture of a hospital bed, a young girl barely 13 covered in bruises. Eyes swollen. Lips split. A small wrist bracelet with the name Maya Langston, Everett's sister. Except this photo wasn't from the night she escaped. This one was taken before she ever got out. Claire clutched her stomach, fighting the urge to be sick. That picture was never released. How? Logan shook his head violently. It was in the envelope. There are more. Files, statements, even your sealed testimony. Someone has everything. Ender. Everett's jaw locked, fury simmering beneath the surface. This photo was evidence. Only law enforcement and a handful of protected parties ever saw it. Elise whispered, Daniel Voss must have kept his own copies. Claire felt her breath hitch. But he can't be coming after me now. That case is over. It's done. No, Everett corrected, voice ice cold. It was paused. For 8 years. There were others involved who were never caught. Someone is trying to rebuild what you helped destroy. Thanks for watching. Logan's voice cracked into a plea. Claire, listen to me. Please, this guy wants you, not me, not Mason. You. I think he blames you for everything. Claire closed her eyes, trembling. Memories long buried began to surface, the screams, the girls, the terror that kept her awake for years afterward. I can't go through that again, she whispered. I can't endanger my baby. Everett moved toward her, lowering himself to her level. You won't. I will make sure of that. Well, there's Frist. But Logan shook his head helplessly. You don't understand. They also sent me a deadline. If I don't bring Claire to the Pier 47 warehouse tomorrow at midnight, they'll release everything to the media. Her past, the trial, her identity, everything. Claire froze. Her life would be destroyed. Her safety gone. Her future shattered. Elise stepped forward urgently. We need to notify federal protection. This is beyond all of us. But Everett didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Then quiet, controlled. No police, he said. Elise stiffened. Everett. No police, he repeated, standing to his full height. This is my family, my debt, my responsibility. Logan backed away. You're insane. That man is dangerous. So am I, Everett said softly. Claire felt fear and hope collide inside her chest. Everett turned to face the room. His decision absolute. We're going to Pier 47 tomorrow, he said. But Claire won't be walking in alone. The room fell silent. Then the elevator chimed again. And this time, the person stepping out made Everett's face go completely still. The elevator doors slid open with a muted chime, and the entire penthouse seemed to freeze. Everett's posture changed instantly, not fear, not surprise, but something sharper. Protective, calculating. Ready. Claire followed his gaze, breath held, as a tall man stepped into the corridor. He was dressed in a dark wool coat dusted with snowflakes, a leather badge clipped to the lapel. Agent Cole Merrick, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Logan nearly fell backward. FBI? Oh God, are you here for me? Cole didn't even look at him. His eyes were locked on Everett. We need to talk. Now. Everett didn't blink. You weren't invited. Cole stepped forward, lowering his voice. And yet here I am because Daniel Voss shouldn't be breathing free air, let alone mailing threats to federal witnesses. Claire's pulse jumped. I haven't been a witness for 8 years. Thanks for watching. You were the key witness, Cole corrected. You and Maya Langston. Without you two, we wouldn't have cracked a third of that ring. Maya. Claire swallowed the ache, rising in her throat. Cole's gaze softened when it turned to her. We've been tracking Voss for months. He disappeared 2 weeks ago, and now suddenly he resurfaces, targeting you, sending photos no one should have except someone with access to the evidence vault. Everett's jaw flexed. Which tells me you have a leak. It might mean. We're investigating, Cole replied carefully. That means, Everett said coldly, you don't have control. Cole didn't argue. He merely sighed. That's why I'm here. You're planning something reckless, Everett. I can read it all over your face. And I'm telling you now, don't go to Pier 47, not without backup. Claire looked between them, heart pounding. If he leaks everything, my life is over. My child's life. Cole shook his head. We can protect you. Can you? Everett asked quietly. Because the last time you promised protection, my sister almost died. A tense silence spread across the room. Cole swallowed. I can't change the past, but I can stop this from escalating. Everett stepped closer, lowering his voice. Claire is my responsibility, not yours. Cole held his gaze. And if you go alone, you're walking into a trap. Logan suddenly blurted. That warehouse Pier 47, it's condemned. No cameras, no traffic. They chose it so no one can hear anything. I have that. Claire's breath shook. Everett, please don't take unnecessary risks. Everett turned to her, gaze piercing but warm. I won't, I promise. Cole exhaled through his nose. Just tell me one thing. Are you going tomorrow? Everett didn't answer. He didn't need to, because his silence said everything. Cole cursed under his breath. Then I'm going too. Everett's expression hardened. No, this isn't your fight. Cole stepped forward. It is now. End quote. Before Everett could reply, Claire's phone buzzed violently. One message. No number. She clicked it, and the screen lit up with a live video feed. A girl's voice whispered, Claire, he found me. Claire's fingers tightened around the phone as the shaky video illuminated her face. A dim room appeared on the screen concrete walls, a rusted pipe overhead, a flickering bulb casting a cruel, intermittent glow. And in the corner, barely visible, was a young girl curled against the wall. Her voice trembled again. Claire, please, he found me. Claire's heart lodged in her throat. Maya? Maya, is that you? The girl lifted her head, the motion sluggish, terrified. Claire recognized her instantly, the same frightened eyes she once protected. Everett lunged closer, his composure cracking. Maya, look at me, sweetheart. But the girl shook her head frantically. He said not to talk. He said if I talk, he'll... The feed jolted violently. A hand grabbed the phone from Maya, the camera spinning wildly. Claire gasped when a man's shadow crossed the lens. A slow, taunting whistle followed, one Claire remembered all too well. Daniel Voss. He stepped into view only briefly, but long enough for his voice to curl through the speakers like poison. Claire Whitford, he drawled. 8 years, and you still ruin my business. You should have stayed quiet. Everett's breath turned to ice. You touch her, and I will tear the world apart to find you. Daniel laughed a deep, satisfied sound. Then come find me. Tomorrow, Pier 47, midnight. Bring Claire. Cole cursed under his breath. He wants leverage. He's panicking. This is desperation. Daniel leaned close to the camera, his features pixelating into something monstrous. If Claire doesn't walk into that warehouse, I'll send pieces of the girl to her doorstep. Claire covered her mouth, shaking uncontrollably. Then the feed cut to black. Silence, heavy, suffocating, swallowed the room. Everett stood as if he'd been carved from stone. He has my sister. He has Maya. His voice was low, trembling with rage. This ends tomorrow. Cole moved closer. We don't know if that location is real. Voss could be baiting you into an ambush. I don't care, Everett growled. I'm going. Claire's knees weakened. He wants me. If I go, maybe he'll release her. And 46. Everett spun toward her, fury flashing in his eyes. Absolutely not. I will not let you walk into a death trap. Logan backed away toward the elevator, paling. I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted my life back. Cole shot him a glare. Too late for that. Claire forced a breath. We need a plan, something he won't expect. Everett's eyes softened as he stepped toward her, voice barely above a whisper. We'll save her, but you're not going anywhere near Voss. Even if I have to lock you in this penthouse. Before Claire could respond, her phone buzzed again. A new message. Just 2 words. She's next. The message she's next hung in the air like poisonous smoke. Claire felt her stomach tighten, instinctively wrapping an arm around herself and the baby. Everett stepped closer, reading the words over her shoulder. His breath went cold. He's escalating, Cole muttered, pacing. This isn't just about revenge anymore. He's trying to force all of us into a corner. Everett turned to Claire, his voice sharper than she'd ever heard. You are not leaving this building tomorrow. I mean it. Claire shook her head. If he's threatening another girl. Claire. Everett's voice cracked, the facade slipping. I already almost lost my sister once. I won't lose you too. The confession stunned the room, including Everett himself. But there was no time to react. Cole slammed his hand onto the kitchen counter. We need a strategy. Going in blind gets everyone killed. Everett nodded slowly, shifting into the calculated, controlled presence of a man who built empires with silence. We give Voss what he expects. Logan blinked. What? No, he expects Claire. He'll kill us. We won't give him Claire, Everett said. We'll give him a version of her. Claire stared. What does that mean? Everett looked at Cole. You have access to disguises, tactical gear, body doubles? Cole hesitated. We can request them. But the timeline? I'll take care of the timeline, Everett said, already pulling out his phone. Claire took a cautious step forward. What exactly is your idea? Everett turned toward her, his eyes steady, intense. Voss wants you at Pier 47 at midnight. Fine, he'll get you. He paused, then added, but not the real you. Claire's brow furrowed. A decoy? Not just any decoy, Everett said. Someone Voss believes is you, someone trained. Someone wearing a thermal mask to replicate your face until the lighting breaks. His jaw tightened. We use his arrogance against him. Cole nodded slowly. If we pull this off, we can extract Maya and arrest Voss all at once. And if it fails? Logan whispered. Everett didn't look at him. It won't. Claire wasn't convinced. You can't guarantee that. No, Everett said softly, but I can guarantee you won't be near him. That's enough. She sank into a chair, emotions swirling. Fear. Relief. Guilt. Hope. Someone will be risking their life for me. For Maya, Everett corrected gently. For justice. And for you, Elise added quietly. The room fell into a heavy silence. Then Cole glanced at his watch. We need to move. If we're doing this, planning starts now. Everett nodded. I'll call in my team. Before he could dial, Claire's phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a threat. It was a video call. Claire hesitated, then answered. The screen flickered, and Daniel Voss appeared, smiling directly into the camera. Daniel Voss filled the screen with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. It was the same expression Claire remembered from 8 years ago, calm, cold, and hollow, like a man who enjoyed watching fear spread. Claire, he drawled, tilting his head. You look tired. Long night? Everett lunged forward, practically ripping the phone from Claire's grasp. Where is she? Voss chuckled. Ah. Everett Langston. I was hoping you'd be in the room. Saves me the trouble of calling you later. Cole stepped up beside Everett, voice sharp. Voss, this call is being monitored by federal agents. Release the girl now. Stop pretending you have any control, Voss interrupted, waving a dismissive hand. The FBI couldn't keep me locked up, remember? Cole clenched his jaw. Voss leaned closer to the camera. I hear you're planning something clever. A decoy, perhaps? A trap? He smirked. Cute idea. Very Hollywood. Everett froze. How do you know that? Claire's blood iced over. Voss tapped the phone lightly. You think I don't keep track of what you're doing? You think I don't have eyes everywhere? Elise whispered, horrified. There's a mole. Voss nodded. Smart woman. Yes. Someone close to your little circle keeps me updated. His eyes flicked to Logan. Some of you are easier to manipulate than others. Logan paled. I didn't say anything. I swear, I didn't. Oh, Logan, Voss sighed. You didn't have to. You're transparent. Desperate people always leave crumbs. Everett's voice dropped to ice. If you hurt Maya, you'll what? Call your lawyers? Voss laughed. I've already won. The only thing left is the trade. Claire stepped forward before she could stop herself. If you're going to kill me, just say it. Voss paused, then smiled slowly. Kill you? Claire? No, I don't want you dead. His smile widened, chilling her to the bone. I want you broken, the same way you broke my business, the same way you stole my product. Claire's stomach churned. Those were children, not product. Voss shrugged casually. Business is business. Cole muttered under his breath. Psychopath. Voss tapped the screen again. Midnight. Pier 47. Claire comes inside. Maya walks out. If I see even a shadow of law enforcement, I'll send the girl back to her brother in pieces. Thanks for watching. Everett's hands shook, not with fear, but with a rage so deep Claire felt it from across the room. Voss leaned in close one last time. Oh, and Claire? Wear something pretty. I want the last thing you feel to be fear. The screen went black. Claire's knees buckled. Everett caught her instantly, voice trembling with fury. I'm ending him. Tomorrow. But Cole shook his head. It's a trap. He knows everything. And I did not. Before anyone could respond, the penthouse lights flickered, and the building's security alarm began to scream. The shrill wail of the security alarm ripped through the penthouse like a physical shock. Red emergency lights strobed across the ceiling, turning everyone's faces into flashes of fear and confusion. Claire clutched Everett's arm instinctively, her heartbeat instantly doubling. Cole drew his weapon. Everyone away from the windows. Now. Why time? Tooth. End quote. Everett motioned Claire behind him, voice urgent but steady. The building's top-level security never triggers without manual override. Someone bypassed it. That means someone's inside, Elise whispered, backing toward the kitchen. Logan slid down the wall, panic spilling unchecked. This is Voss. Oh God, he's here. He's here to kill me. No one cares about killing you, Cole snapped. Now shut up and move. The lights flickered again, once, twice, then stabilized. The alarm abruptly cut off, leaving a tense, suffocating silence. Too quiet, Claire's breath trembled. Shouldn't the guards be here by now? Everett's jaw tightened. They should. He tapped a code on the control panel by the door. Nothing responded. Another attempt. Still nothing. He's jammed the system. Cole holstered his phone after a futile attempt. Emergency lines are down too. The whole floor is isolated, Everett murmured. He's buying time. Claire's voice cracked. Why? What does he want from us now? Everett turned to her, the truth stark in his eyes. Leverage. Fear. He hesitated. Or you. A loud metallic clank echoed from the service hallway. Everyone froze. Cole raised his gun again, stepping slowly toward the sound. Back room, move. Everett ushered Claire behind him, keeping her pressed close. Even in chaos, Claire noticed it the way he instinctively positioned himself between her and danger, as if it were second nature. Another clank. Then footsteps slow, deliberate, scraping against the tile. Claire swallowed hard. That's not Voss. He wouldn't come himself. No, Everett said. He'd send someone expendable. Cole took point, edging toward the junction where the hallway branched. On my signal. But he didn't finish. A body was suddenly hurled into view, slamming into the living room wall with brutal force. Logan screamed. It was one of the building's security guards, unconscious, bleeding, crumpled. And behind him, stepping into the light, was a man Claire didn't recognize. Tall, masked, wearing tactical black gear and holding a weapon with a suppressor attached. Voss's messenger. The intruder raised the gun toward Claire. Claire Whitford, he said through the mask. You're coming with me. Everett moved faster than thought, shielding her entirely. Cole shouted, Don't shoot. The intruder pulled the trigger. A single silenced shot cracked through the penthouse aimed straight at Claire. The silenced gunshot cracked through the penthouse like a muted thunderbolt. Claire's scream caught in her throat as Everett lunged in front of her, bracing for impact. But the bullet never reached them. A sharp metallic clang rang out the unmistakable sound of a projectile hitting reinforced material. Cole had tackled a side table, flipping it upright just in time. The bullet embedded into the steel leg, smoke curling from the impact. Move, move, Cole shouted, firing a controlled burst toward the intruder. The masked man ducked behind a pillar, returning fire with chilling precision. Glass shattered. The lights flickered again. Logan curled into a ball near the sofa, sobbing openly. Everett grabbed Claire's hand. Stay low. Follow me. End of masses. They scrambled behind a marble partition as Cole engaged the intruder, trading suppressed shots that thudded like distant drums. He wasn't aiming to kill, Elise whispered, trembling. He wanted to injure, to incapacitate her. The realization struck Claire cold. Voss didn't want her dead. He wanted her delivered. Everett leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. We end this tonight. I'm not letting him take you. Claire nodded, though her hands shook uncontrollably. Another shot ricocheted off the counter inches from her shoulder. Cole shouted, He's moving toward the elevator. He's trying to regroup. Everett peered around the corner. No, he's hurting us. He wants Claire exposed. The masked intruder slipped behind a structural beam, tapped something on his wrist device, and the service elevator at the far end of the hall dinged open. He pointed at Claire. Come quietly, or the girl dies. Claire's heart plummeted. Maya. But before she could react, Everett stepped forward, fury radiating from every muscle. If you touch her, or my sister, I swear. The intruder threw a small device across the room, a cylindrical object rolling to a stop at Claire's feet. Cole's eyes widened. Flashbang, down. Too late, a blinding white explosion swallowed the room. Claire cried out as her ears rang violently, vision dissolving into static. Everett wrapped an arm around her, shielding her as debris rattled across the floor. Through the haze, she felt herself being lifted. Not by Everett. By someone else? Her vision cleared just enough to see the masked man dragging her toward the service elevator. Everett pushed himself up, disoriented but fighting through it. Claire. The intruder tightened his grip. Midnight comes early. Claire kicked, struggled, but his strength was overpowering. The elevator doors began to close. Everett lunged too far away. Claire met his eyes one last time as she was pulled inside. And then the doors slammed shut, taking Claire into the heart of Voss's plan. Claire's world became a blur of metal, cold air, and the suffocating grip of the masked man dragging her through the service elevator. Her ears still rang from the flashbang, her vision pulsed in and out, and every instinct screamed to protect her unborn child. She clawed at his arm. "Let go, please, my baby." "Voss doesn't want you harmed," the man grunted. "Not yet." The elevator shot downward, faster than she expected. This wasn't a normal route. This was a maintenance shaft, restricted, unmonitored, perfect for disappearing without a trace. Claire tried to steady her voice. "You don't have to do this. Whatever he's paying you, I'll double it." He scoffed behind the mask. "You think this is about money? You ruined a very lucrative operation. Some of us lost more than cash." Her stomach twisted. Daniel Voss had built loyalty the way cults did, through fear, dependence, and emptiness. The doors opened into a dim underground loading area. A black van idled at the far wall, engine humming like a predator waiting to pounce. Claire froze. "No, no, no." He tightened his grip. "Walk." She stumbled forward, but her foot slipped on the concrete. Pain shot up her side. Her baby kicked violently, as if sensing the danger. "Please," she whispered, breath shaking. "I'm pregnant." For the first time, his grip faltered. Just for a second, just long enough. Claire twisted, slamming her elbow into his ribs. He grunted, but didn't release her. Instead, he shoved her against the van and pinned her there. "Don't fight," he snarled. "It'll only make it worse." A cold wave of dread washed through her. He reached for a syringe taped inside the driver's door, clear liquid shimmering under the fluorescent light. Claire's pulse spiked. "What is that?" "A sedative. Voss wants you calm for the exchange." "No, no, please." He uncapped the needle. A roar echoed from behind them. The intruder spun. Just as a black SUV tore through the loading dock gate, metal exploding outward like shrapnel. Tires screeched. Headlights blazed. Everett. He didn't wait for the vehicle to stop. He leapt out before it fully braked, gun drawn, eyes burning with a fury Claire had never seen, even on the night of the video call. "Get away from her," Everett snarled. The intruder jerked Claire closer, pressing the needle toward her arm. "Back off, Langston, or she gets it." Everett didn't flinch. "Try it. You won't leave this garage alive." The intruder laughed shakily. "You think you scare me?" Cole swung out from the passenger side, weapon raised. "Drop the syringe." "It's of dawn." The masked man hesitated, just long enough for Claire to feel hope spark. Everett's finger tightened on the trigger. The intruder's grip shifted. And then, another figure stepped out from behind the van, holding Maya at knife point. Maya stumbled forward, a trembling silhouette in the dim underground light, her wrists bound and a blade pressed against her throat. Her captor, a second masked man, smirked beneath the shadows, using her small frame as a living shield. Everett froze, every muscle locked. The rage that had been driving him shattered into raw, blistering terror. "Maya, sweetheart," the girl whimpered. "Everett, don't come closer." Claire felt her breath crush inside her ribs. The intruder holding her tightened his grip, pressing the cold needle against her skin. "It's over, Langston. You shoot, you lose one girl. You hesitate, you lose both." Cole steadied his aim. "We can negotiate. Voss doesn't need 2 hostages. He only needs Claire." End quote. The man with Maya laughed darkly. Voss changed the plan. Claire's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "It means," the man said, tightening the knife, "that Voss wants leverage on Everett as much as he wants revenge on you." Everett's eyes sharpened, calculating, hunting for any opening. "Let them go," he said, voice low. "Take me instead." "Everett, no." Claire gasped. Maya cried harder, shaking her head violently. "Don't. Please don't." The man behind Maya sneered, touching. "But Voss doesn't want you dead. He wants you helpless, broken, watching the people you love disappear." Claire's heart stuttered. "The people he loves?" She'd never imagined she could be on that list. The masked man holding her jerked her closer. "Time's up." Into the van, both hostages. Cole barked, "You're not taking them." The masked man pressed the needle harder. "I will paralyze her from the neck down if you fire." "Want to test me?" Everett's jaw clenched so tightly a vein bulged at his temple. He stepped forward an inch. "Don't!" Claire cried. Everything teetered seconds, stretching thin, brittle, ready to shatter. Then Maya's captor made a fatal mistake. He shifted his stance. Just a fraction. Just enough for the blade to angle away from her throat. Maya saw it. Cole saw it. Everett saw it. But Claire acted. With every ounce of strength she had left, Claire stomped backward on her captor's instep, forcing his grip to falter. His hand swung wide, the needle slicing empty air. Claire twisted, using momentum to slam her elbow into his jaw. The intruder staggered. Everett seized the moment. He fired. One perfect, controlled shot hit the man's shoulder, knocking him off balance. Claire fell free, collapsing to the ground as Cole rushed toward the second captor. But the man holding Maya reacted faster than human. He shoved Maya aside, grabbed a detonator from his pocket, and hissed, "You come near me, Langston, everyone dies." Then he pressed his thumb on the trigger. The underground garage began to rumble. The underground garage trembled as dust rained down from the ceiling. The masked man stood with the detonator clutched in his fist, breathing hard, eyes wild behind the visor. "Back away," he screamed, "all of you." End quote. Cole raised both hands, gun still pointed but no longer steady. "Listen to me. If you blow this place, you die too." The man laughed, unhinged. "Voss promised I'd be remembered. That's enough." Everett lunged toward Claire and Maya, pulling them behind the SUV as another tremor rippled through the floor. Concrete cracked under the van's tires, the structure groaning like it might collapse at any second. Claire's breath came in ragged gasps. The baby kicked violently, reacting to her terror. "Everett, my stomach, something's wrong." His attention snapped to her instantly. His hands hovered over her, frantic yet gentle. "You're going into acute stress. Your body can't take this, Cole. We need to end this now." But Cole couldn't move. Not with a madman ready to blow the building sky high. The masked man snarled. "Voss says nobody walks out unless Claire walks in. Alive, broken. He doesn't care about the rest of you." Maya whimpered, clutching Everett's arm. "Everett, don't let him take her. Please." Everett cupped his sister's face, fierce and trembling. "No one is laying a hand on either of you. I swear it." Claire's eyes darted to the detonator, small, black, thumb pressing dangerously close to the trigger. She felt a surge of clarity slicing through the panic. "We need to separate him from that device," she whispered. Everett shook his head. "No, you're not moving." But Claire wasn't listening anymore. Something inside her, maternal, primal, unstoppable, rose like fire. "You said it yourself," Claire whispered, meeting his eyes. "Fear is his leverage, so we take it away." Before Everett could react, Claire stepped out from behind the SUV. "Hey," she shouted, "you want me? I'm right here." "Claire, no," Everett roared. The masked man jerked toward her, eyes blazing. "I said, stay back." Claire lifted her, shaking hands. "Let the others go, and I'll come with you." "Stop talking," the man screamed, edging backward toward the van door. "Get over here now." Cole turned toward Everett, whispering urgently, "We need a clean shot, 1 second, one distraction." Everett's gaze locked onto Claire, terror, fury, heartbreak colliding in his eyes. She mouthed, "Trust me." The masked man's thumb tightened on the trigger. A sharp crack echoed. Not an explosion. A gunshot. From somewhere above. The masked man jolted, the detonator flying from his hand and skittering across the concrete. He collapsed to his knees, stunned. Everyone froze, turning toward the upper catwalk. And standing there, gun smoking, was someone none of them expected to see again. Mason Clark. For a full second, no one moved. The underground garage hummed with dust and tension as Mason Clark stood on the catwalk, gun still raised, chest heaving like he'd sprinted through hell to get here. Claire blinked hard, convinced the stress was making her hallucinate. "Mason?" He looked down at her with an expression she hadn't seen in years, raw remorse, fear, and something close to desperation. "Claire, I had to. I couldn't let him take you." Everett's reaction was immediate and lethal. He stepped in front of Claire and Maya, shielding them, voice razor sharp. "Put the gun down before I put you down." Mason raised his free hand, voice cracking. I'm not here to fight. I'm here because Voss lied to me. He said if I helped deliver Claire, he'd leave us alone, me, Logan, all of us. But he never planned to keep his word. Cole barked. Then why help him in the first place? Mason's face twisted. Because I was stupid. Because Logan promised me we'd rebuild our careers together, and I believed him. Because I let envy destroy every good part of me. The detonator lay near a support beam, blinking faintly. Cole moved slowly toward it, careful not to trigger a hidden failsafe. The masked man on the ground groaned, clutching his bleeding shoulder. You're all dead. You think stopping me matters? Voss has 20 more. Mason shouted down. Shut up! Everett kept his gun trained on Mason. Why are you really here? Redemption? Or because you're scared Voss is coming after you next? Mason swallowed hard. Both. He shifted his stance on the catwalk. After I left the plaza, 2 men followed me. They cornered me behind my building. They said Voss doesn't need me anymore. That once Claire was taken, I'd be next on his list. Claire's breath hitched. Mason, why warn us? After everything you did? He closed his eyes, ashamed. Because I was wrong. About Logan, about you, about everything. His voice cracked. And because letting you die won't fix the miserable person I became. Everett didn't lower his weapon, but something in his expression shifted a recognition of genuine fear. Cole finally reached the detonator, crouching to inspect it. The wiring is sophisticated, but the trigger's been disabled. That shot saved us. Mason's shoulders sagged with relief. Then a metallic snap echoed above him. Claire looked up. A second masked figure stepped out of the shadows behind Mason, silent, precise, lifting a knife. Mason! Claire screamed. He turned too late. The blade slashed across his side, sending him sprawling over the railing. And Mason fell from the catwalk, plummeting straight toward the concrete floor below. Mason hit the ground with a sickening thud that echoed through the garage. Claire screamed as Everett pulled her back, shielding her from the impact. Maya covered her face, shaking violently. Cole sprinted toward Mason's crumpled body, gun still raised in case the second masked attacker followed. Mason, stay with me, Claire cried, trying to push past Everett, but he held her firmly. You can't, your stress level is already critical, Everett urged, voice tight with fear for her. Cole knelt beside Mason, 2 fingers pressed to his neck. Seconds stretched unbearably. Finally, he exhaled. He's alive. Barely. We need medics now. Call them, Claire pleaded. Cole shook his head. Communications are still jammed. Mason groaned, eyes half open, blood spreading across the concrete beneath him. He looked up at Claire, fighting for breath. I'm sorry, Claire. Tears blurred her vision. In all the chaos, in all the betrayal, this was the first time Mason had looked like the boy she once knew. The boy who protected her in college. The boy who turned into someone she no longer recognized. But now, he was just a broken human, facing the consequences of every wrong turn he'd taken. Mason, why did you come back? She whispered. He winced, coughing. Because you didn't deserve any of this. And I helped start it. His eyes shifted toward Everett. Take care of her. She saved lives. She saved your sister. She deserved better than all of us. Everett nodded solemnly. You did the right thing tonight. Mason tried to smile, but pain twisted it. Funny, first time I did the right thing in years, might be my last. Claire reached for him, but Everett pulled her back again as the second attacker emerged from the shadows, sprinting toward the van. Cole fired, but the masked figure dove inside and slammed the door shut. The engine roared to life. He's escaping, Maya cried. No, Everett growled, lifting his weapon. Not again. Affo. But the van tore through the cracked exit, screeching into the night before Everett could fire a second shot. He's going to warn Voss, Cole said, breathing hard. This just got worse. Claire clutched Everett's arm. He'll expect us now. He'll move Maya. He'll change everything. Everett looked down at Claire, then at his wounded sister, then at the blood pooling beneath Mason. His voice dropped to a vow carved in steel. Tonight, we end this. No matter what it takes. T7. Ender 7. Ender 7. T7. T7. Before Claire could respond, a deep boom echoed above them. The entire high-rise shuddered, and chunks of concrete rained from the ceiling. The high-rise shuddered again as another boom thundered overhead, dust drifting from the cracked ceiling like falling ash. Claire clung to Everett as Cole pulled Maya into his arms, shielding her with his jacket. "It's controlled demolition charges," Cole shouted. "Voss is trying to bury the evidence, and us with it." End quote. Everett's eyes burned with cold fury. "Not tonight." He scooped Claire into his arms despite her protests, carrying her toward the emergency stairwell. Cole followed with Maya. The remaining masked intruder lay groaning behind them, unable to move. Claire gasped as another tremor jolted the structure. "Everett, my contractions, something's happening." His grip tightened. "Hold on, you're not giving birth in a collapsing garage." "I hope so." They burst into the stairwell, racing upward toward street level as smoke filled the lower floors. Every step felt like a countdown. Every creak in the steel felt like a warning. When they finally emerged onto the street, cold night air hit their faces, along with the sound of sirens, helicopters, and armored vehicles. Cole exhaled. Backup finally got the signal. But Everett wasn't looking at the authorities. He was looking at Pier 47 visible from the street, lights glowing in the distance like the open jaws of a trap, and a black van speeding straight toward it. "Voss is still there," Claire breathed. Everett set her gently into an ambulance seat. "You stay. You and our baby are safe now." "Everett, don't." He cupped her cheek, gaze steady, vulnerable. "You saved Maya. You saved me. Let me finish this." End quote. Before she could reply, he turned and sprinted toward Cole, who tossed him a tactical vest and firearm. They moved like a unit, two men drawn together by justice, vengeance, and something deeper. Maya grabbed Claire's hand. "He'll come back. He always keeps his promises." Claire nodded, tears gathering. "He has to." At Pier 47, Everett and Cole breached the warehouse with a precision that spoke of rage honed into discipline. The firefight inside was brief but decisive. Voss's men fell quickly. And Daniel Voss, the man who broke children, destroyed lives, hunted Claire, tried to flee through a side door. Everett cornered him against a steel cage. "You hurt my sister," Everett said, gun raised but voice steady. "You terrorized Claire. You thought fear made you powerful." Voss spat blood. "You won't shoot me. You're too civilized." Everett's reply was quiet. "No, but Cole will." End quote. A single shot ended the man who once controlled an empire of pain. Hours later, as dawn broke over Manhattan, Everett returned to the ambulance where Claire sat wrapped in blankets. He knelt, brushing her hair gently. "It's over. You're safe. And so is Maya." Claire exhaled a trembling breath, relief, grief, hope all tangled. Everett took her hand. "When you're ready, I'd like to build a life with you, one built on truth, on safety, on love." Quotes. For the first time in months, Claire smiled through tears. "I think we already started." A paramedic approached. "Miss Whitford, it's time. The baby's coming." Claire tightened her grip on Everett's hand, and together they stepped into the sunrise toward the life she finally deserved. So, that's where our story comes to an end. And if you're still here with us right now, my friend, it means something in this journey touched your heart in a real, personal way. Maybe it reminded you of your own strength. Maybe it whispered that even in the darkest moments, you are not as alone as you think. Life will break us sometimes. It will take things we thought we couldn't live without. But as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the obstacle is the way. What tries to crush us can become the very thing that shapes our courage. Claire walked through betrayal, fear, danger, and uncertainty, and came out not just alive, but renewed. And you can, too. Healing doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes softly, in the decision to try again. If this story gave you even a little hope, clarity, or comfort, let us know. Hit the like button so more people can find it. Share it with someone who might need this reminder today. And subscribe, because we're going to keep telling stories that hold your heart the way this one did. Thank you for staying. Truly, you matter more than you know.